The Threads of Fate by L.S. Larkey and Atlantean Astrology, a 5-part series. The castle's quiet murmur had grown to a chorus of whispers, as if every stone in the ancient structure had something to say. The boy walked through its winding halls, the weight of the threads already gathered, pressing lightly against his chest. Strength, mercy, two pieces of a soul, each bearing the burden of his father's past. But as the boy wandered deeper into the forgotten corridors of the castle, he knew that more awaited him. With each step, the whispers grew louder, pulling him toward a deeper truth. He found himself in a part of the castle that felt different from the rest. The air was cooler, as though the light of the world outside could not reach here. The stone walls seemed darker, worn by time and silence. Shadows flickered like living things, and ahead, a faint light glimmered from an open doorway, casting long, haunting shapes across the floor. At the threshold, the boy hesitated. He could feel it, the pull of another thread. It was here, waiting for him, as if the room itself held its breath. With a deep breath, he stepped inside. The room was small and circular, its walls bare except for the silver-framed mirror standing in the center. Its surface shimmered with an unnatural light, as if it held more than just a reflection. The boy approached cautiously, his own image staring back at him, yet something about it felt wrong. The reflection was not just showing his outward appearance, it seemed to peer into something deeper, something hidden beneath his skin. As he stood before the mirror, a voice, calm and steady, echoed from its depths. "I am foundation," the voice said, low and steady, "the ground upon which all else is built." The boy's heart quickened. Foundation? He had been searching for pieces of his father's soul, but this was something more. It was not just a thread. It was the very essence of what held everything together. "Look," the voice urged, "and see what lies within." The boy stared into the mirror, and the reflection began to change. Slowly, the image of himself melted away, replaced by another figure, tall, proud, draped in fine clothing. The figure's face was his own, yet twisted by arrogance, eyes gleaming with vanity. "Vanity," the voice whispered, its tone sharper now. "A foundation built on vanity is like a castle built on sand. It will crumble, and all within it will fall." The boy watched as the ground beneath the figure in the mirror began to tremble. Cracks spread like a web, and with a sudden violent shudder, the ground gave way. The proud figure stumbled, reaching out in desperation, but there was nothing to hold on to. The walls of its world collapsed, the foundation crumbling to dust beneath its feet. A cold chill ran down the boy's spine. The meaning was clear. Vanity, the pursuit of admiration, of outward appearances, could not hold the weight of a life. It was a weak foundation, one that would inevitably fall. The figure's world had shattered because it had been built on nothing but illusions. "Do you see?" the voice asked, its tone almost sorrowful now. "To build on vanity is to build on emptiness. When the time comes, there will be nothing left to hold you up." The boy nodded, his chest tight. He had seen people like this, those who lived only for the praise of others, who built their lives on appearances and shallow desires. Their foundations were hollow, and when the world turned against them, they had nothing to stand on. But the mirror was not finished with him. The image rippled again, and a new figure appeared, this one simpler, humbler. It stood tall, its clothes plain, its posture unassuming, but there was a quiet strength about it, a solidity that the boy recognized. This figure did not seek to be admired. It stood on its own, strong and unshaken by the chaos around it. "This," the voice said, softer now, "is a foundation built on honesty and integrity. It shall not fall, for it is rooted in truth." The boy felt warmth spread through him as he gazed at the figure. This was the foundation that mattered: truth, honesty, integrity. A life built on these things did not need the validation of others. It stood firm on its own. The ground beneath this figure was solid, and no matter what storm came, it would not be moved. "A foundation built on truth will endure," the voice continued, its tone resolute. "But a foundation built on lies, on vanity, will crumble. The choice is yours." As the boy looked into the mirror, the figure of his father appeared beside him. His father's face was calm. but there was a sadness in his eyes, a sadness that the boy had never understood until now. His father too had struggled with these truths. He had carried the weight of vanity at times, but he had also known the strength of truth. The boy's hand trembled as he reached out, his fingers brushing the cool surface of the mirror. A single thread appeared in the glass, glowing faintly. He pulled it free, warm and soft in his hand. This was foundation, the truth upon which everything else must stand. But before he could leave the room, the mirror darkened and another presence stirred. A figure stepped forward from the shadows, its face hidden beneath a heavy hood, its cloak billowing like smoke. The boy's heart quickened as the figure approached, cold and commanding, its presence filling the room. "I am justice," the figure said, its voice deep and resonant. "I am the balance that must be struck, the hand that delivers what is deserved." The boy felt a chill run through him. Justice. It was the next piece of his father's soul, but it was different from the others. Justice carried a weight that was colder, sharper. It was not soft like mercy or strong like foundation. It was something else entirely, unyielding, unflinching. The figure extended its hand, revealing a glowing thread. But before the boy could reach for it, the figure spoke again. "Do you understand what it means to judge?" the figure asked, its tone sharp yet thoughtful. "Justice is not about punishment. It is about balance. To deliver justice, you must understand, not condemn." The boy hesitated, his mind racing. He had always thought justice was about right and wrong, about making people answer for their actions. But now, standing before the figure, he realized that justice was more than consequences. "Justice is about seeing the whole picture," the figure continued. "To judge without understanding is cruelty. To condemn without knowing the heart of the one you judge is to fail them. True justice is about balance, about empathy, about seeing beyond the surface." The boy felt the weight of those words settle on him like a heavy cloak. Justice was not just about righting wrongs. It was about seeing the person behind the actions, about understanding their struggles, their pain. Without understanding, justice became hollow, a weapon of judgment rather than a tool of balance. The figure extended the thread once more, and this time the boy took it, feeling its cool weight in his hand. Justice was not as simple as he had thought. It was about balance, about seeing the truth in its entirety before deciding what was deserved. As he slipped the thread into his pocket, the figure in the mirror faded, leaving the boy alone once more. The lessons, however, stayed with him. Vanity would lead to ruin, but truth and honesty would build a foundation that could not be shaken. And justice, it was not about punishment. It was about understanding, about delivering balance with wisdom and empathy. The boy turned from the mirror, his heart heavy but filled with purpose. He had gathered more threads, more pieces of his father's soul, but there was still more to find. As he left the room, the whispers grew louder once again, urging him onward. The boy left the mirror room, the thread of justice heavy in his pocket, but even as he walked, the whispers grew softer, giving way to something else. A new presence, a new pull, deeper and more profound. The castle was guiding him again, but this time there was something different in the air, a feeling that both humbled and lifted him. He could sense the presence of something grand, something beyond the mortal experience, yet deeply rooted in it. He found himself in a long hallway, its walls lined with portraits of figures long forgotten, their faces etched with both sorrow and grace. The boy felt an undeniable pull toward the end of the hall, where a great door stood slightly ajar, allowing a faint light to spill through. With careful steps, he approached and pushed the door open. Inside was a grand chamber, its walls adorned with tapestries depicting scenes of breathtaking beauty. Great mountains, valleys full of flowers, and skies that seemed to stretch into eternity. At the center of the room stood a pedestal, and upon it a glowing orb, pulsing with a soft, radiant light. As the boy stepped forward, the air grew warmer, filled with a sense of awe and wonder. He knew that this was not just another room in the castle. This was a place of reverence, a place where something greater than himself awaited to be understood. And then the voice came. "I am Splendor." The boy stopped, his breath catching in his throat. The voice was both delicate and powerful, filling the room with a sense of majesty. It was not like the others. Where strength and justice had been commanding and raw, splendor was refined, radiant yet humbling. To understand splendor is to understand the path you must walk, the voice continued, its tone both soothing and firm. You were born at the bottom of the mountain, as all men are, and it is your journey to strive upward, to become more than what you were at birth. The boy listened, his heart pounding. He could see it now, the path of life as a great mountain with every step forward a test, every challenge a way to grow stronger, wiser. Splendor was not something given. It was something earned through perseverance, through struggle, through the constant striving to become something greater. Men are born at the base, the voice said, with nothing but potential. It is up to you to rise, to climb, to grow, to become worthy of the splendor that awaits at the peak. The boy's mind raced as the voice continued, each word resonating deeply within him. He had always known that life was difficult, full of obstacles and challenges, but now he understood the purpose behind those struggles. Each trial was a step towards something greater, a journey towards splendor. But you are not alone in this journey, the voice said, for at the top of the mountain stands another. The boy's heart swelled as the voice spoke again, this time more softly, more reverently. Women are born at the top of the mountain, for they embody the essence of beauty in the world. They are the splendor you strive for, the light at the peak that you must earn. The boy felt a warmth spread through him, not from the glow of the orb, but from the words themselves. He understood now. Women, like the one his father had loved, embodied something far greater than mere physical beauty. They were the keepers of splendor, the essence of what made life worth striving for. It is not easy, the voice continued, for women must guard their honor and their chastity, for they have everything to lose. You as men must earn them, for they are the splendor and beauty of the world, the reflection of the divine. The boy stood in silence, the weight of those words sinking in. He had never thought of it this way before, but now it all made sense. Women, born at the top, had to protect what they had been given, their beauty, their grace, their essence, and men, born at the bottom, had to climb, to strive, to prove themselves worthy of that splendor. To climb the mountain is not just a journey of strength, the voice said, it is a journey of honor. For as you rise, you must carry with you the understanding that splendor is not to be taken, but earned. The boy felt a sense of clarity wash over him. He had found strength, mercy, and justice, all pieces of his father's soul. But now, standing here, he understood that splendor and beauty were the ultimate goals of that journey. His father had known this, he had lived this, and now the boy was beginning to understand it as well. The orb on the pedestal pulsed with light, and from it a thread began to form, thin, delicate, and radiant. The boy reached out, and as his fingers touched the thread, he felt an overwhelming sense of peace, of purpose. This was not just another piece of his father's soul. This was the essence of what his father had been striving for, what he had been protecting. The boy took the thread of splendor, and as he did, the room seemed to brighten. The tapestries on the walls shimmered with new life. The mountains and valleys depicted within them filled with the light of understanding. The boy slipped the thread into his pocket alongside the others, and for the first time he felt whole, as though a missing piece had finally been found. But as the boy turned to leave the room, the voice spoke once more. "Remember this," it said, its tone soft but firm. "Splendor is not something you take. It is something you earn. It is the culmination of all you have learned, all you have fought for. And when you reach the top of the mountain, you will see that the splendor you sought was not in the world, but within yourself." The boy nodded, his heart full. He understood now. Splendor was not just about beauty or admiration, it was about the journey, about striving to become something greater than what you were, about earning the right to stand beside the splendor of the world. With a final glance at the glowing orb, the boy left the room, the weight of the threads now balanced within him. His journey was far from over, but with splendor and beauty now a part of him, he knew he was one step closer to understanding his father and himself.